Is it actually still worth it? The pain, the loneliness, is it worth the money that I'm getting? And how am I going to navigate how broke I feel compared to the life I thought I had? Hi, if you're new over here and you just bumped into this channel, my name is Sibu and this is the wellness edition of Life in Manchester. On this channel, I share how I navigate my life in the UK through the form of vlogs, as well as sit-down videos like this one. The Wellness Edition is a new series that I'm starting with this episode, and here we tackle the issues that impact our wellness as people who have moved from another country or even another city into Manchester and into life in the UK. So I hope you stay here, stick around and make this your home. I wanted to start off this series with the topic of financial wellness, because I think this is an area that a lot of people consider when they're making the decision of whether to stick around and stay in the UK or just go home and try and create a life somewhere else or maybe in a different country. And these are my views, obviously. I am not a financial advisor. I am a wellness coach, and I understand the direct impact that our finances have on the life that we live and our mental wellness as well. So I hope that this video can shed some light on the things you should be aware of, help you navigate your own feelings and emotions, and come up with solutions. If you've noticed, things have changed a lot in the UK. If you're an oldie like myself and you've been in the UK for a while, you'll know that back in the day, your money went a long way and the exchange rate was very strong, which meant that you had a whole muscle of capacity when it comes to your finances, and the money that you made was able to take care of you, give you the soft life that you desired, but also be able to take care of things at home, which I think, at least based on the conversations that I've had with the people around me, is often one of the things that we have to do: take care of people back at home, your family, etc. And so these days, things are not the same. Money doesn't go as far as we'd like it. We're also in a different phase of our lives. Back earlier in your 20s, maybe you had less responsibilities, but right now, being in our 30s, trying to build our lives, trying to create a life for ourselves, but also managing the expenses and the money that is required to take care of things at home is very burdensome in some cases. And so I just wanted to have a chat around the things that I am observing around me and the things that I'm seeing. One of the challenges that I have noticed is lifestyle creep. And lifestyle creep is only natural. As you move to a different country and as you settle in your life in Manchester, you find that you start having more access to the things that you maybe wanted or desired, the lifestyle that you craved and the life that you envision for yourself. But sometimes that access doesn't necessarily go with your budget. And so you can easily step into the realm of overspending, buying on Klarna, and just living way above your means. And so that would be the starting point, I think, is identifying where your lifestyle creeps are. If I were to identify my own, I know for a fact that this year my life has definitely changed when it comes to finances. And one of the areas that I have noticed is the way that I travel. So I used to commute with a tram. I used to use a tram, and before the tram, I used to use just the bus or trains. This year, things have changed. My life was busier. I was on the go. I was constantly tired. I felt entitled to not use the train. It kind of started slowly, to be honest. And then eventually I just started using Ubers more regularly. And right now I'm at a phase where I'm like, you know what? Let me just allow this to happen, but also be aware of the impact that it's having on my budget. So that's one of the areas that I've identified. So if you do a lifestyle audit on your own finances, where are the areas that you think you have observed lifestyle creep? It could be in buying in coffee shops every single day, or maybe not packing your lunch and just buying lunch constantly every other day when you are at work. There's a number of ways that lifestyle creep can impact us. The other thing is you feel entitled to the money that you're spending because you work so hard, the one thing that I always say is that in the UK, it is very work-centric. You will feel your self-work. Now, compared to my life in South Africa, I did work. Yes, we did work as professionals, and the corporate culture is very much similar to the UK. But there was a grace that was allowed. Like, there was a little bit of flexibility when it comes to just the culture. I think the culture, at least in the time that I was in South Africa, wasn't as work focused. Like, you felt yourself live outside of the office. And so compared to in the UK, you can just work. And by the time you breathe, all you want to do is just give yourself a nice time. Like, you just want to rest. You want to be able to give yourself the life that you have been working for. And that can lead to overspending a lot of the time. And so it's often important to appreciate that sometimes we are just trying to live the life that we are working hard for by spending the money that we're spending. And also to alleviate the pain that comes with moving to the UK. Like, sometimes all you're doing is soothing your emotions and soothing yourself through just spending and loading your cart with things that you don't need, or buying things to make you appear a certain way, or taking trips that you can't necessarily like fit into your budget, but you're just trying to self-regulate. And a lot of the time it takes you stepping back and seeing yourself almost as a third person, or like in second person, and being like, if I was watching a movie of this life, what would I be observing? Where are the leaks? Where is my money going that I don't necessarily plan for ahead? So yeah, it's very important to be able to stand back and see yourself in third person, especially when it comes to a financial perspective. Now, on this channel, we love a hot drink. And today I'm having chamomile tea with honey, and it smells really good. It smells really, really good. Going back into the things that are a challenge when it comes to finances, I spoke a bit earlier about the burden that comes from taking care of your own self as well as your family. Now, I use the word burden very loosely, and I targeted directly to the fact that sometimes you just can't do all the things that you want. Like, your budget doesn't allow it. And there is a concept of black tax. If you're not familiar with it, I'll try to do my best to explain it. Essentially, it's an African concept where you take care of the people around you. And black tax often has a connotation around it, but I like to view it as a positive thing. I'll give an example of myself. I am the eldest daughter of 3. And in my family, my responsibility as the eldest and the one that has the financial means is to take care of my family. And I often reiterate the fact that in a family, everyone has their own role. And in this season of life, I've been given the financial muscle to be able to take care of my loved ones. And it gives me joy and gratitude to be able to do that for my family. Like, in the same means, my mother has a certain role, my father has a certain role, and my sisters have a certain role in the function of a family. So when it comes to finances, right now, I'm responsible for making sure that my family has food to eat, my family is able to have a roof over their head and is safe. But that means that I have to factor that into my budget, but realistically. And that's where the challenge comes in. And I think a lot of people face that challenge, is that the capacity that you have from your salary that you're earning in the UK doesn't always stretch as far as you'd like it to. Now, I think when it comes to black tax, you need to be very realistic with yourself. There is black tax, and then there's offering soft life. You need to distinguish between those two things. You can't give people around you everything that they desire and strip yourself from the very same thing. It also falls into the concept of almost like self-love or self-care. You can't give more than you have the capacity to give. And so what I often remind myself when I run into the challenge of black tax and not being able to take care of everything as much as I would like to, is that, yes, I have this responsibility that I am very grateful to have some of the means to be able to do. But let's go back to the budget. What can I do? What realistically can I do that won't strain me too much, that will still allow me the opportunity to be able to take care of myself and take care of other people, and also be able to do nice things for myself? Because quite honestly, I work hard for the money that I have. And so I should be able to spend money freely, but also still taking care of my responsibilities. And so I think it's just being very honest and upfront with your family. And this is a very, very challenging thing to do, especially because your family is so close to you, and all you want to do is just blanket them with like love and please them and just make sure that everyone is taken care of. But that thinking and that kind of like way of spending money, that's going to leave you stagnant. Like, I will tell you for free, if you spend all your money on taking care of other people, you're never going to be able to progress financially. So you need to have upfront conversations. They might involve tears, just a word of warning. But have those conversations and talk to the people around you about what realistically you can spend and what you can't. Because once you figure that out, then you'll be able to move forward and have a clear budget. The other technique I also use is almost treating it as like a request system. If anything is needed within the family that falls outside of the budget that you all are aware of and have agreed on, then you need to ask your family, please tell me in advance so I can also plan my finances. Because it's the ad hoc requests, the I need money here, I need money there, that make it strenuous. It also grows some resentment as well in you, where you don't have any kind of bounds or any boundaries around the way that you spend your money. So really, really important to understand the concept of self-care and self-love when it comes to spending money on your family. Now, I'm going to shortly go into the things that we can do to alleviate all of these strains and the things that impact our wellness negatively when it comes to finances. But I wanted to touch on one other thing, the issue of peer pressure. Like, you almost can't see it, but it actually happens and you're unaware of it. And I think the reason there is peer pressure that surrounds the aspect of money and like you spending money when you live in the UK and when you live in a country that's not yours is that a lot of activities are based around money. Things that you would find for free in South Africa are paid for in this country. Take, for instance, how you spend your weekend. At home, if I was in South Africa, maybe I'd like take a drive home and go to my family and we'd all kind of like do some shopping, some groceries. I mean, obviously you were going to get groceries anyway. You would hang out with family, you would visit your aunts, you would see your friends, and maybe on that odd occasion, you would maybe go out for lunch or go out for dinner. But on the normal occasion, things are very like family centric, and maybe I'm making the assumption because I'm basing it on maybe how I'd live my life. But even functions, like you would go to functions and maybe you would go to like be a ceremony that is happening in someone's family, that you don't pay entrance fee for that. And so what I'm trying to get at is that the community experience back at home is free. In the UK, the moment you step out of your house, you're paying money. It's almost like you're paying for community. And sometimes there is peer pressure associated with that, because in order to feel like a part of something, in order to feel surrounded by people, you have to take out cash. The events that are planned, you pay for them. When there is any type of socializing, it is a business. When there's any type of interaction, it's paid for. Everything is paid for. Like you're paying for community. And it sucks so much. And I honestly, in my heart of hearts, I wish there was a way of getting around it. But I think in the world that we live in, it almost feels impossible to get these things for free, because obviously you have to organize events and whatnot. But the peer pressure aspect comes in when you're constantly paying like for things, for a good weekend. You're going out with people, you're paying for that. You're paying for Ubers, you're paying to go from one destination to another. You're paying for holidays that you don't really want to be a part of, but you have to be a part of because it's part of the community experience. And I need you to recognize that. And again, it's that third person perspective of like, see yourself externally from what's happening and how your life is playing out, and ask yourself, would I actually be spending this money if it was just me and me alone making these decisions? And I think that that is where you're going to start gaining back the power over your finances and being able to control your financial wellness. Now, as we get into the end of this video, I want to offer some solutions. The thing that's really important is for you to be well as a whole person, for you to find your grounding so that you don't feel like this journey of moving to a new country is worthless, because when you left wherever you left, there was a reason, there was a vision, there was a plan. So in order to make that plan materialize, there are simple things that you can do. One, I think it's very important as a person to be an independent thinker. I know it's really difficult, but when you have groupthink, it's hard to hear your own voice. It's hard to hear your own individual thoughts, to operate based on your own value system. But as an individual, draw out your own plan, have it in mind, stick to it, and then have a vision. A vision is, it doesn't have to be figured out completely. Like, you don't have to be like, for the next 10 years, this is what I'm going to do. But you have to have a direction, like, this is where I'm headed, so that if there's anything that comes inside of your view that maybe wants to pull you into a different direction, you're able to be like, wait, hold on a minute. That's not where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to go there. That's all a vision is. It's perspective. It's almost like the light, like, you know where the light is. And when anything tries to pull you away from it, you move towards the light. So make sure that you know your own light. Be an individual thinker. Secondly is to look at the facts. You know your salary, you know your expenses. Change your habits so that they fit into the budget. If there is a leak, identify the leak and make ways around it. So for instance, like I told you, the reason that I take Ubers is because I constantly feel drained and whatnot. The only way that I can go back into taking like normal transport is by waking up earlier, which means I sleep earlier, is by setting boundaries so that like I know that I won't have to take an Uber if I didn't plan around it. And it's just simple things like that. And then also having the exchange mindset. Like, okay, when I take an Uber for £10 per trip, it doesn't sound maybe like a lot, but it means that I'm giving away maybe a coffee on a Saturday. Like, I'm giving away that. Am I willing to make that trade-off? Okay, if not, let me walk to the tram stop. Pretty much just look at the facts. That's how it works. Another way to get a hold of your finances is shopping deals. Now, I'm not saying sit there with like coupons and try and find the best deal. That's not what I'm saying. We're not trying to live from a poverty mindset. But what is important is to be aware of the things that you love and try and find them when they're on a good deal. Like, I'll use myself for an example. I love high quality clothing. I like clothing that fits a certain way. And I just, there's a certain taste that I have in clothing that sometimes is very expensive. And so I have to wait for the deals in most occasions. I have to wait for the sale and then be able to get the thing that I want. Like right now, for instance, there is a certain coat at & Other Stories. Now I know that if I walk into & Other Stories and it's not a sale, I'm just gonna break the budget. Like, the coat that I want does not fit the budget. And so if I definitely want that coat, I want that look, I'm constantly on the lookout for similar coats, because it's not even about the shop itself, it's just about the fit and the way that it's made. And I'm constantly on the lookout for coats that look like that. And this is where it becomes really important to be an independent thinker again, to kind of understand yourself, know what your taste is, but also the thing that often creates an urgency of spending is one, emotional regulation, and two, trying to live a life that you can't really afford, impressing people essentially. And so if you have that in mind of like, If this is so urgent, what is the issue? Am I trying to impress people? Am I trying to appear as if I afford a certain lifestyle that I can't? Or is it because I'm trying to calm myself down? Once you figure out which one of those it is, then deal with the thing, deal with the core issue. Because I could be waiting for 3 months for this coat. If I've saved for it, then I'll buy it. If I haven't saved for it, then I won't buy it. That's just how it works. If I can find a deal, then I'll buy it on the sale. That's just how it works. And so in your own life, identify the areas that you have leaks in that you can fix. And if you can understand your own self and the things that are maybe you have a higher end taste in, then you can shop the deals and make sure that when there's a Black Friday sale, there's an end of season sale, that you're first in line for those things because you already factor them into your budget. It's not like you're charging it on Klarna. Very, very important is to live within your means. Either live within or way below your financial means, because the other way around creates a lack of financial well-being. You're constantly stressed about money, and that impacts your wellness holistically. So those are my thoughts on financial wellness and how you can get well financially. I'm going to be doing a few more of these videos. If you have not watched my other videos and you're new to the channel, make sure you catch those and check them out. Also check out the recap that I've done and my view on what's actually keeping you in Manchester in this specific year. And I'll be doing a couple more episodes of the wellness edition of Life in Manchester, and I hope to see you there so we can get well together. Well, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.